"I'm sorry I'm not what you expected," she said on our blind date. But my reply left her in tears. The moment she sat down across from me, I knew something was wrong. Her hands trembled slightly as she placed her purse beside the chair. Her eyes avoided mine. There was sadness there, deep, familiar sadness, the kind that comes from years of disappointment and silent battles no one else sees. Then, before I could even introduce myself properly, she took a shaky breath and whispered words that completely changed the evening. "I'm sorry. I'm not what you expected." Before we begin, if you believe true love is about seeing someone's heart rather than their appearance, please like this video, comment your thoughts, share it with someone who believes in second chances, and subscribe to Love Tales for more emotional stories that touch the soul. For a few seconds, I simply looked at her. The restaurant around us buzzed with laughter and conversation, but everything seemed distant. All I could see was the fear in her eyes. I finally understood. When we had agreed to a blind date through mutual friends, we had exchanged only messages. No photos. No video calls. Just long conversations late into the night. Over weeks, she had become the brightest part of my day. Her kindness made me smile during difficult work shifts. Her humor made stressful evenings easier. Her dreams, fears, and stories felt strangely familiar, as if I had known her for years. But now, sitting across from me, she looked terrified. As if she expected rejection. As if she had experienced it many times before. I noticed the faint scars along one side of her face. They stretched from her cheek toward her jawline. Not severe enough to hide who she was, but visible enough to attract unwanted attention. Suddenly everything made sense. The insecurity. The hesitation. The apology. Later, I would learn the full story. 3 years earlier, she had survived a devastating car accident. While she recovered physically, the scars remained. What hurt far more was how people treated her afterward. Friends drifted away. Relationships ended. Strangers stared. Potential partners who seemed interested online often disappeared the moment they met her. Little by little, she began believing that her scars defined her worth. And now she expected me to do exactly what others had done. Leave. Reject her. Confirm every fear she carried. I looked at her for a long moment. Then I smiled. And my reply brought tears to her eyes. I told her that she was right. She wasn't what I expected. Because the woman I expected was someone kind. Someone intelligent. Someone brave. Someone genuine. But the woman sitting in front of me was even stronger than that. She had survived pain that most people couldn't imagine. She had continued living despite heartbreak. She had chosen to trust a stranger enough to show up tonight despite every reason to stay home. And honestly, I told her, that was far more beautiful than anything I could have expected. The tears appeared instantly. Not loud tears. Not dramatic tears. Just quiet ones rolling down her cheeks. For a moment she covered her face. Years of hurt seemed to crack open all at once. No one had ever responded that way before. No one had looked beyond the scars immediately. No one had seen the woman behind them. The rest of the evening passed differently than either of us expected. The tension disappeared. The fear faded. We talked for hours. The restaurant eventually emptied around us. Employees stacked chairs. Lights dimmed. Still, we talked. She laughed freely for the first time that night. And I found myself realizing something important. Every scar on her face told a story of survival. Every insecurity she carried revealed strength she didn't even recognize. And every smile she gave made her more beautiful than any perfect face ever could. Over the following months, we continued seeing each other. It wasn't a fairy tale. She still struggled with self-doubt. Sometimes she would avoid mirrors. Sometimes she questioned why I stayed. Sometimes old wounds reopened when strangers stared. But little by little, things changed. Not because the scars disappeared. Because they didn't. What changed was how she saw herself. Instead of viewing her scars as proof she was broken, she began seeing them as proof she survived. Instead of hiding from the world, she slowly stepped back into it. And every small victory felt monumental. A smile in a photograph. A confident walk into a crowded room. A moment of self-acceptance. Months later, we returned to the same restaurant where we had met. The same table. The same soft lighting. But this time, she looked different. Not because her appearance had changed. Because her confidence had. The woman sitting across from me no longer apologized for existing. She no longer lowered her eyes in shame. She finally saw herself the way others should have seen her all along. As someone worthy of love. As someone worthy of happiness. As someone enough. If this story is touching your heart so far, please take a moment to like the video, share it with someone who needs encouragement, and subscribe to Love Tales so more people can hear stories that remind us what truly matters. And before we reach the ending, I have a special request. Comment below, "True beauty lives in the heart." Years later, whenever people ask me when I knew she was special, I don't mention anniversaries or milestones. I remember that first moment. The moment she apologized for not being what I expected. Because she was wrong. She wasn't less than I expected. She was far more. The truth is that life leaves scars on all of us. Some are visible. Others remain hidden deep inside. But the people worth loving are not the ones without scars. They're the ones who carry them with courage. And sometimes, all it takes is one person willing to see beyond those scars to change someone's life forever. The greatest love stories aren't about finding someone perfect. They're about finding someone who finally helps you realize that you never needed to be perfect to deserve love. And that realization can heal wounds that years of pain never could.